Rockies franchise is here, everybody. MLB The Show 25. I'm super excited. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and select our Colorado Rockies. We have our simulation style there. Let's take a look at the roster here at the top. Just real quickly, they got Brenton Doyle as their number one player, 26 years old, 84 overall. He's amazing in the field. He's the perfect player to build around here in Colorado. They have Ezekiel Tovar as well, a great defensive shortstop. And you need good defense here in Colorado with this big open outfield. And the ball is going to fly here. So we're going to need some pitchers who can keep the ball down. And we don't have that. But we'll get into more of this roster a little bit later. We do have the veteran Ryan McMahon. He's going into his 8th MLB season, 30 years old. He can still hit the ball pretty well. So let's go ahead and get more into this. We're going to have everything on manual in this series. We have the manager task, development task, and the GM tasks. Everything is going to be on manual. I want to control every aspect of the team, so we're good with that there. This custom game entry, I'm going to set this a little later. I do want to have this on. I don't know exactly how I want to do it just yet, so we're going to skip this for now, but it will be there. And we are going to do spring training. We're not going to be playing any of the spring training games, but I want to be able to set the 40-man roster. We're here in spring training and we do have our roster set here, but before we get into that and simulating through this, let's go ahead and take a look at our roster. As we saw earlier, the number one rated player on our team is Brenton Doyle. And he is really good in the field. He does need to work on the bat, but he is the highest rated player at 84 overall, I believe. He is going to cover that big center field out in Colorado. He's got good speed. He beats this one out here. He can use that good speed to steal second here as he swipes it with ease. And here he is now in the field. Josh Naylor up to bat. And Doyle, he is going to be quick enough to get to that one. We're not in course, obviously, but that's just a little bit about Doyle here. He is going to be the star of our team. Brenton Doyle, everybody. Next up, we have Ezekiel Tovar here, 23 years old, 83 overall. Amazing in the field as well. He plays shortstop, and that's the only position that he can play. No position flexibility. He's done pretty well in his MLB career so far. Had a pretty good season last year. The on base definitely needs to get a little bit better, but he batted .269, slugged .469, had an OPS of .764. For shortstop, that's pretty dang good. He's got B potential, and we'll just have to see how his development goes. Just like Doyle, Tovar does need to work on the bat a little bit. He's a little bit further along than Doyle, I would say, but still some improvement to be made there. But he's still very, very solid in the field. As in spring training here, he went against Zach Gallen. He had a nice little at-bat here. 2-1 now to Tovar. As Gallen looks to deliver the pitch. And Tovar with a nice swing. He's going to hit it into the gap. Tovar doesn't have the speed of Doyle. Only 68 speed there, but definitely somebody that we're looking to build around here at shortstop. After Doyle and Tovar, our next highest rated player is the veteran Ryan McMahon, 30 years old. He's been holding it down in Colorado now for quite some time. He's a very good hitter. Had a down year last year. He's always been around like a upper 700 OPS player. He's pretty good. He's just solid there at third base. He's not like the best. He's not the worst. He's a decent fielder. Actually, really good fielder. 88 fielding. That's pretty generous, I feel like, for him. But either way, he's got good, solid contact ratings, solid power ratings as well. He can get on base. He can do a lot for this team, and he's just a solid third baseman to have. He can hold it down there. We want to see McMahon succeed. Like, he is 30 years old, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have a spot on this team. He was an all-star last season, but just because he's older doesn't mean we're going to get rid of him right away. But he does get out here, but he's still a solid player, and I want to keep him around at least for a little bit. We've talked a lot about the hitters on this team as they are towards the top, but how about the ace of our team? That's going to be German Marquez. He's been injured for a while, but he has been a mainstay here in Colorado for quite some time, as Bouchard can't get the ball there. But yeah, Marquez has been here for a while. He's only a 72 overall. He's got C potential, and he's in his 30s. I believe he is 30 exactly. And like I said, he's coming off some pretty nasty injuries. We'll have to see how he can do. He hasn't been too bad for, pitching in Coors Field for the majority of his career. He has been pretty solid, so you got to give that to him. We'll have to see how Marquez does. We don't have very much young pitching in the organization, and we do have one guy that we'll get to a little bit later, but we don't have a lot of young talent in this organization at all. As Marquez tries to strike out Bobby Witt here, he throws the slider in the dirt. You want a guy that can keep the ball kind of down, as Marquez doesn't do it here, but another guy that's young on this team, Nolan Jones, he has a rocket of an arm, and he shows it off there to get the throw at home. We're not really going to spotlight him, but yeah, Nolan Jones, that's him, everybody. And other than those couple of players, there is not very much to spotlight here. Obviously, we still have to get through spring training to see how the final 26-man roster is going to look. But a couple other players that are kind of nice that we won't really spotlight. We do have Michael Toglia here. He's got B potential, 26 years old, 75 overall. He's a switch hitting first baseman who hasn't really put it together in the majors just yet. He hasn't batted very well. He did hit 25 home runs last year, but only batted 218. 311 on base isn't the worst. 767 OPS. We would like to see a little bit more out of him. He did accumulate a 1.6 WAR, but want to get the strikeout rate down. He does have some good pop against righties and lefties. He's not the best fielder, but he plays first base, so we're not too worried about that. He just needs to work on getting his average up a little bit, and we'll see if he can develop in this series. We have Thairo Estrada coming over from San Francisco. He's 29 years old. He has B potential. He's another good fielder there up the middle at second base, and that's really all he's good at. He's never been the best hitter. He did have a good year in 2023 and even in 2021. Like this 3-year stretch right here, he was pretty solid, but regressed back to the mean last year, and San Francisco decided to get rid of him, and he is now here with the Rockies. We saw a little bit of Nolan Jones earlier. He's got that 99 arm strength, 85 accuracy. He's 26 years old, 71 potential. He came over from the Guardians a couple years ago in a trade, and he hasn't also not really been able to put it all together at the major league level. He had a good 2023 season, not the best season last year. He was dealing with injuries and stuff as well, so have to keep that in mind. Had a negative 1.4 WAR, had 4.1 in 2023, and we're hoping that he can go back to that 2023 status here in 2025. If you take a look here at our starting pitchers, we don't have a lot of good ones. We have Ryan Feltner, who is also here. He's 28 years old, C potential, 70 overall. Didn't have the worst season last year. It actually was pretty good, especially pitching in Coors a lot, with a 2.2 WAR, and he ended up with a 1.34 WHIP and a 4.49 ERA, which isn't the best, but in 162 innings, and he had 138 strikeouts. He's not the worst guy that you can have. There's definitely worse. He's just a solid starter, but for him to be towards the top of the rotation is not something that you particularly want. We have another guy here, a lefty in Austin Gomber. He's 31 years old. He came over years ago now. He started with the Cardinals, had a pretty good season in that shortened 2020 season, but he was traded for in the Nolan Arenado deal, and he has not done well. He continues to make the roster in every year, and he'll probably make it again this year because, like I said, we do not have very good pitching, and it's hard to get good pitching in Coors. We do have a rookie that might make the rotation this year, Jaden Hill, 67 overall, C potential. He's 25 years old. He got in 9 games last year, didn't start, and he only pitched 10 and 2/3 innings, gave up 7 runs, 6 earned, 2 homers. He walked 4. Not the best debut for him. He's looking to bounce back here in 2025. Our closer this year is going to be 34-year-old, 64 overall, Tyler Kinley. Yeah, this team is not good. Kinley was horrible last season. He pitched 64 innings, saved 12, only blew 1. So in the save role, he wasn't too bad, but not good from him. 2 other guys that we have at the MLB level, they're a little younger. Zach Bean, he was a top prospect for the Rockies for a very long time. He just has never really developed the way that they would have hoped. We're going to give him some time at the majors this year. Like I said, I think it's time. He's only a 61 overall. He's 23 years old. It's kind of now or never for Bean. We'll have to see how he does. He was a former first-round pick. And we also have Jordan Beck, who was a second-round pick back in 2022. He's 23 years old, B potential, 60 overall. Not sure if he'll make the opening day roster, but he was on the team last year, only batted 188. He definitely struggled, so he might need some more time at the minors. If we take a look here at the top 100 prospects in all of baseball, Roki Sasaki makes the list at number 1. I mean, he's going to be incredible for the Dodgers, of course. They continue to get better, but we scroll down here just a little bit. The first guy that comes up on the list for us is their first round pick from this past draft in 2024. It's Charlie Condon or Condon. I'm not exactly sure how you say it. He's 21 years old, 6'6" right fielder with B potential. His hitting's already in a pretty good spot. He does need to develop the defense a little bit, and he does have good position flexibility. He could play first, third, and the outfield. We'll have to develop him. He's going to start at AA for us. Then if we scroll down just a little bit, this would be my number 1 prospect in the organization, Chase Dollander. He's 23 years old already, 68 overall, B potential. He was a first rounder back in 2023. I don't think he's very far away from the majors. He'll actually probably start at AAA for us this season, and he might even be getting a call up as soon as this year. If we go to just our team, the top 20 by the organization, so we talked about Condon and Dollander. Number 3 is Adael Amador. He's been a prospect for quite a while now. I think they got him when he was like 16 or 17 out of the Dominican Republic. He's a second baseman. He's only 21 years old. He's a switch hitter, 62 overall, B potential. Needs to develop basically everything. His ratings are like all a little bit below average. He has some time to go. He was on the major league roster a season ago, only got 35 at bats, didn't do much in them. He is on the 40-man to start the year, but he probably will end up getting sent down. We're going to have to burn one of his options. He doesn't have any used yet, though, luckily. After him, we have Yanquiel Fernandez. He's already on the MLB team on the 40-man, and I think he has a good shot at making the team. He didn't play last season. He doesn't have any of his options used up, but his bat isn't too far off, and his defense isn't that bad either. I could see him being on the bench, but if we want him to develop, we might want to send him down. I haven't decided yet, but you'll see at the end of the video what we end up going with. Our 5th ranked prospect is Sean Sullivan. He's a 64 overall with C potential starting pitcher. He is not that good either. And as you can tell, we don't have any A potential players on the roster. So after Amador, these 3 guys are the B potential players. After them, we don't have any prospects with B or higher potential. Drew Ramo is here. He's a catcher. I don't know if he'll make the roster this year. We have Stallings and another guy that I can't think of his name right now. I want to go check it real quick. It is Hunter Goodman, who is a little bit higher rated, and he's got some pop in his bat. Romo could use some time to develop a little bit more at the minors. He does have all 3 of his options still available. If we sort our team here by potential, so Dollander and Condon with the B, we have Doyle and McMahon, Jones, Jordan Beck, Victor Vodnik, who is a relief pitcher. He pitched 73 and 2/3 innings in the majors last year, had a 4.28 ERA with a 1.48 whip, zero point 0.5 WAR accumulated. He wasn't that bad, but he definitely still needs a little bit of development. But with our rotation and our bullpen not really having that much, he could easily make this 26-man roster. Going back to the potentials, obviously Tyler Kinley, he's 34, doesn't really help us. Amador, Tovar, who's really good. We want him to develop. Tolia and Estrada are all of our B potential players. So not very many of them. This team needs tons and tons of work. And don't worry, guys. There is one guy that I did not mention. I've been waiting to mention him. It is Keston here. No, I'm just kidding. It's Kris Bryant. Obviously, he is the big elephant in the room. 33 years old, 62 overall. Now, you might be like, if you don't know like much about baseball or you don't really keep up with it too much, if you're wondering why, well, we got to take a look at his contract. He is here for the next 4 seasons at $26 million per season. And this was a bust of a signing. I mean, just really bad. He has been horrible since coming to Colorado. I mean, his season in 2022 wasn't bad, but he got hurt in that year and he looked okay. But ever since, I mean, he just has not been good. He'll be DHing for us, but I don't want him to be. But I don't know if we really have a choice. We kind of have to play him, use his contract, and see how that goes. And with in this game, you actually can't send down players with 5 or more years of experience. I mean, unless they let you, but they don't always, and they can reject it if they don't want to get sent down. And I think it'd be realistic to try and keep Kris Bryant on the roster and have to work around that contract. It was a big reason why I wanted to pick the Rockies, and they just need a huge rebuild as well. That was also part of it. If we take a look at our budget here, I don't know what our, like, how much we're allowed to spend in quotation marks, because obviously we know that the MLB doesn't have a salary cap, but each team, you know, with their owners has different budgets and constraints. With that being said, though, here is the players on our team. We have Kris Bryant, obviously, who we just talked about, making 26 a year. Kyle Freeland is on a huge deal as well. He'll be here till 2027, and his contract isn't very good. Same with Antonio Senzatella, who's a 59 overall pitcher. He might have to make the rotation. I'm not quite sure. We'll have to see how spring training goes. Ryan McMahon's here, which I do like. He will be here for 3 seasons. Marquez is on the last year of his deal. Like I said, he is our ace, and he's been hurt for the past 2 seasons. So we'll have to see how he does this year. But he's actually been pretty solid for the Rockies, you know, like just holding it down. I wouldn't want him as my ace, but that's kind of what he's been in Colorado the past couple of seasons. They already signed Tovar to a big extension. He's making $9 million a year, and that's going to be a bargain later on down the line for us. Gomber's in the last year of his deal, and I'm pretty sure the rest of these guys are, but these are the guys making the big bucks towards the top. But with all that being said, I think we're ready to start simulating through the spring training. I already simulated through it quite a bit. That's how I was getting the gameplay. You know, I was only like a couple, like, at bat, like one at bat for each player, or like, you know, some defense. But if we take a look here on the right side of your screen, the team rankings, we're the 29th ranked team in baseball, 29th in contact, 18th in power. We have the worst pitching staff. We're 6th in defense, so at least we bring a glove to the field, and we're league average in the speed department. So I simulated through the spring training. Our Rockies end up 10-18, which is not very good. But if we go and take a look here at the lineup, I think this is the easiest way to kind of look at who's doing good, who's doing bad. We have a couple cold streaks, but Brenton Doyle here, he averaged 279. He hit 2 homers, 6 RBIs, and 86 at bats. I mean, he was a given to make the roster. Anyway, I didn't move players around too much. I kind of already have an idea of who I want up and who I want to not make it. Ryan McMahon, 241, 15 ribbies and 4 home runs. That's pretty good. Tovar batted 264. That's pretty good for him. 250 average for Tolia, 5 homers. Like seeing that. He does have that big bat. Chris Bryant, 275 average, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. Maybe he can turn it around and make that contract worth it. I highly doubt it, though. Nolan Jones struggled a little bit, 246 average, 8 RBIs, 3 home runs, and 65 at-bats. Thairo Estrada really struggled with only a 177 average. He did hit 4 home runs, which isn't that bad. Sam Hilliard also struggled, 182 average. He's just a veteran guy on the team. We didn't talk much about him. And then Jacob Stallings at catcher. He's more of a defensive catcher in his career, but even those ratings are kind of on the decline. Hunter Goodman only got 4 at-bats here. Kyle Farmer, he's another veteran. We didn't really talk about him. I could see him making the team because he's got good contact versus lefties. He could play first base. Pretty good defender as well with some utility. Sam Bouchard, he'll probably end up getting sent down. He doesn't have the 5 years of experience. He kind of struggled last year. He was pretty high rated, not like high rated prospect, but like a middle of the road prospect for the Rockies a couple years ago, but he also has not panned out. Greg Jones is actually somebody I'm kind of interested in. He's already 27 years old. He's a switch hitting outfielder who can play second and short, but didn't have the best spring. Amador, same deal here. He'll probably be getting sent down. Zach Veen in 25 at-bats, 2 homers, a 280 average. That's pretty good. Jordan Beck didn't really do much. He'll probably end up getting sent down as well. Drew Ramo did really well. Maybe we keep him up over Hunter Goodman. I mean, the CPU played him over Goodman, and Goodman didn't do all that well. But I don't know, because Ramo won't get much playing time. We'll think about it. Yanquiel Fernandez did really good. I would like to see him make the roster, but we'll have to see how it goes there. So that is like the hitting lineup. Let's go take a look now at the pitchers. In the pitching rotation, Herman Marquez struggled. He had a 4.05 ERA with a 1.41 whip, 22 strikeouts in 33 innings. Jaden Hill, he also really struggled, but 20 strikeouts in 23 innings isn't bad. He did go 0 for 5. Maybe we give him some time at AAA to start the year. He doesn't have any options used. I don't know if it's kind of glitched out where like nobody has any options used. I might have to go see that, but I feel like some of these players should have some options used. Kyle Freeland really struggled as well. Only 8 strikeouts and 22 in a third innings. We don't really have a choice with him. I mean, he's making a lot of money. He's going to have to make the roster. Feltner, he's got a 5.02. He was one of our younger guys I'm kind of hoping can break out a little bit. And then Austin Gomber actually did really well. 1.5 ERA, 1.21 whip in 24 innings, and he went 3-0. So Gomber, I think, is pretty safe there to make the rotation. So we'll probably... Senzatella, actually did pretty good out of the pen. So we'll put him here in the starting lineup. It'll probably look something like this. And we'll end up sending Jaden Hill down, I believe. Tanner Gordon, he got absolutely rocked. And he's only a 51 overall. So I doubt that he was going to stay up anyway. Bradley Blaylock, 24 years old, 61 overall. 3.95 ERA in 13 2/3 innings. Scott Alexander got hurt, but he did really well when he played, and he's a good lefty to have. Jake Bird, 15 innings pitched, 7.2 ERA, not very good. He wasn't horrible for the Rockies last year, had a high whip. Actually, I guess he was pretty bad. Lucas Gilbreth, he's another lefty. He actually did really well, so he'll end up making the roster. Victor Vodnik, he did really well. 14 2/3 innings, 2.45 ERA with a 1.23 whip. Love seeing that. Seth Halverson, he's a D potential, 55 overall. He's not making it. Luis Peralta, 0.82 whip. He's a lefty, but he probably doesn't make it either. And then Kinley as our closer was okay, I guess. And the rest of these guys didn't really get much playing time. There's Jimmy Herget. I didn't know he was on this team. That's interesting. He's 31 years old, though. Then all these guys down here didn't play. Anthony Molina was a pretty good relieving prospect. He started a game for the Rockies a year ago, but came out of the pen most of the time. And he wasn't horrible, but he'll probably end up getting sent down. So we have our final 26-man roster here for the regular season. Let's go through it very quickly. For our starting rotation, we have German Marquez, 72 overall, Kyle Freeland, Ryan Feltner, Austin Gomber, and Antonio Senzatella at 59 overall. Like I said, this team needs a lot of work. In the pen, we have Scott Alexander. He'll be our long reliever. I want him to get the most innings. He's a lefty. He was pretty good for the Athletics last season, so he's coming over, and he's going to try to do the same thing with the Rockies. Jake Bird makes the roster, even though he didn't have the best spring training, but he has 99 velo, 99 break. He could be pretty solid. Victor Vodnik makes it. Bradley Blaylock makes it. Luis Peralta, the 50 overall, makes it. We needed another lefty in the pen. He'll be in there. Lucas Gilbreth, he'll be our setup man, and Tyler Kinley as our closer. If we go take a look here at the bats, this is not the starting lineup for opening day. I haven't decided how I want that to go just yet, but these are just the players that will be on the opening day roster. We have Bretton Doyle, Ryan McMahon, Ezekiel Tovar, Michael Tolia, Chris Bryant, Nolan Jones, Tyro Estrada, Sam Hilliard, Jacob Stallings, Kyle Farmer, Greg Jones ends up making it, Zach Veen. I did pick Drew Ramo over Goodman. I sent Goodman down. I couldn't send Ramo down with the spring that he had. And then Yanquiel Fernandez does make the roster. So that should just about do it for this first episode. But let me know what you guys think. Are you excited that we are doing the Colorado Rockies here? Another big draw for why I want to do this team. I mean, look at this division. We have the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, the Padres, even the Giants, who just signed Willy Adames in free agency. Like, all these teams are really, really good. And then there's just the Rockies. So we're going to have a tough time building up this team. And we're playing at Coors Field. So a little bit of my mindset of how I want to build this team. I want guys that can hit the ball into the gap. Obviously, we want some home run power as well, but it's not as necessary in Coors because the ball is going to fly anyway. I want guys who are going to hit the ball and get on base, but get doubles, triples, extra base hits. And then defensively, which I actually think the Rockies have already done fairly well. They have Bretton Doyle. I want a guy who's rangy in center field. He needs to cover a lot of ground. I would like another guy in the outfield that can do that. Nolan Jones isn't that guy. Hilliard is a pretty good defender, but he's a veteran, and he probably won't be on this team for that long. We kind of hope Zach Veen could be that guy, but it's not looking like it. Fernandez isn't going to be that guy, and Greg Jones can be that guy, but he's already 27, and he's only got C potential. And then we have good defense up the middle as well with Tovar and Estrada right now at second. And I could see Estrada sticking around for a little bit. He's only on a 1-year deal, and he's only got 1 year left of arbitration. So we'll have to see how it goes. But if you're excited for this series, make sure you drop a like as well as subscribe if you are new to the channel. I appreciate all of you sticking to the end if you did. And I will catch you all in the next one when we finally get into some gameplay with our Colorado Rockies. Peace out, everybody.